What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Good to be here. If you're here, it looks like Bear made it. If you're here, please feel free to leave a comment down below. A little special night. Last time I did my live stream, I documented some of my own pedals. I didn't really document anything else other than that. I guess other than a new X Atlantic, other than a Angry Face tuner. But yeah, looks like Tony's here. Good to see you, Tony. Good to have you here. I guess not see you. It's good to see your name pop up in the comments. My wife is here, throwing out the emojis. Good to see everybody. Good to have everybody here. So like I said, we're going to be talking about some pretty cool pedals today. Let's head down to the pedal board cam and let's look at these guys. So we have the Dirty Haggard audio pedals. In between, some pretty crazy cool pedals. We got a DOD 250. We got an Angry Alpaca here. So, gonna do some cool stuff with these pedals. The 797 will be compared with the DOD 250, where the circuit derived from, where he modified it from, where he started. Also, the Tonebenzer, which is kind of a play on the first tone bender ever made, the 2-transistor version. So, we're going to be comparing that with my own 2-transistor fuzz, the Angry Alpaca. And then lastly, probably the most unique pedal sitting on this table is the 3904. This fuzz does some crazy spitty things. It's just a volume knob, that's all it has, but it does some wild tones. We're gonna go through that. I don't have anything I can compare that pedal to. So you're just going to have to bear with me. You're just going to have to listen to how good it is. Oh, yeah. So Jason from PJ and the Beard is here. And you know what? I intentionally put this shirt on because I wanted to rep my bros down in doing the channel at PJ and the Beard. Soon you will see some pretty cool pedals pop up on their channel. You'll see this guy. You'll see an Angry Alpaca. You'll see the new Fuzzy Fox. Doing a pretty cool thing where hopefully they'll compare and contrast from the old to the new and show you how I improved all the circuits. So, few little announcements, few little things to go through. Tonight's a little bit different. As I said before, I have some sponsorships, if you will, some people that were willing to put forth some of their products to put on the show. So first of all, I want to thank Anthony at Ampture Co. Cables and Wiring Harnesses. He sponsored me by giving me some cables to use. As you can see here, Ampterco, you should go check them out. They make some super affordable stuff. I think a 15-foot cable was $25. That's it, 25 bucks. And considering that I got a mediocre cable at Guitar Center or wherever it was for about 15 bucks, that is not asking a lot for a completely hand soldered, completely hand done everything of a cord, of a cable. So check them out. He's a really cool guy, and I'm sure he'll give you a deal. Tell him I sent you. So, like I said, Ampterco pedals are really sweet, and Dirty Haggard Audio. They're based in Portland, Oregon. Portland. And they're set out to make some affordable boutique pedals, is what their goal is. And I will say that they did it. I really love, as you've seen in my old format of my pedals, I really love the raw aluminum look. That is always something that's been close to my heart because that's where I started with pedals, but the concept of these pedals is very different. So let's go down to a little bit of a zoom here. The 797, as you can see, it's a normal aluminum box, not powder coated, not painted, but it's got this really cool like circuit board on the top. He assured me that the circuit board is nothing to do with the actual circuit itself, but it's really cool to see the some resistors exposed, and that as a pedal builder, seeing that material that is the circuit board. So that's really sweet. We'll take a look at all of them while we're at it. And I think these pedals, they're about 70 bucks. They're a super good value for what you get. Definitely worth picking up. So the Tonebenzer, here you go. No resistors exposed in this one, but the same general theme for it. The circuit board on the top as a faceplate for it, and then lastly the 3904. This one has, what is that? 12 resistors in a circle around this logo. It's sick. It's so sweet. These pedals make me happy because aesthetically there's something completely different. They're not like anything else you see on the market. Obviously, most of my pedals, all of them now, are powder coated and printed, as you can see with the Panda here. You see different graphics and different designs, but how often do you see a pedal that has a circuit board as a faceplate? Almost never. Almost never. So, let's see who else we got here. Zachary Taylor, it's good to see you, buddy. Good to have you on the live stream with me tonight. Kendall Williams, good to have you, man. I have not talked to you in a long time. It's been a while before we've talked, before we've conversed. That's awesome. Good to have you here tonight. So, I'm doing something a little bit different with the rig tonight as well. I'm not using this guy back here. No reason in particular other than it got pretty loud the last time I did a live stream. So I decided to run everything through something you can't see, but it's down here behind me. It's a Fender Mustang GT 200. It's pretty awesome, actually. A lot of people hate on modeling amps, but this one is pretty cool. It's got stereo XLR outs, so if you want to run direct into anything, it's pretty awesome that way. And it's got effects loops. It's got all the effects you'll ever need. I even got the little foot switcher down here so I can turn on my delay and my reverb, and I have a compressor I'm using in the amp. So it's a really sweet setup, actually. Not very expensive, but it's a really cool setup, and I can run everything through my Focusrite into my ears, so I'm not too loud. I'm not, vibrating the house because of how loud it is. We got Mark Anderson here. What's up, man? It's good to have you here. He's also demoed some of my old stuff, and I would love to get some of my new pedals on his channel eventually as well, because I think he'll be impressed, as I think anyone who is comparing the old to the new would be. All right, so the rig-wise, we're going through that amp. I'm playing my Pink Strat again. I was going to play my Telecaster, my Partscaster I have, but Jason Sutter knows I'm always going to be a Strat guy. It doesn't matter what guitar is put next to me. I thought about using the old Electromatic Gretsch, you know, but it just, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And it's good to see that one of the people on PJ and the Beard is starting to use a Strat more, and it's really nice to see that. Really nice to see more Strat lovers in the world. So let's go ahead and start off here. So let's start off with the overdrive section here. We have a Dirty Haggard Audio 797 compared with its brother, its heritage, its whatever you want to call it, the Dod Overdrive Preamp 250. The Dod 250, as everyone knows. So this pedal is known for that roll-off of the gain knob, where it's like, okay, all the way down it's going to get a little dark. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that really quick. So yeah, it's pretty dark. As you roll it up, it gets brighter and brighter. And that is one thing that Dirty Haggard Audio wanted to get rid of. They wanted to combat that, give it more gain, give it a better tone when you roll the gain all the way back, less dark, more cutting, and let's go ahead and showcase that. So as you can see here, unity gain, I think, for the 250 is somewhere in that range, and this is unity gain for the 797. So it has a ton of headroom available that you can just soar those leads. So yeah, all the way down, it's bright, it still has some crispy gain to it, and it's really, really sweet. So let's go ahead and roll up that gain all the way and see what this thing can. Cleans up really well as you roll your volume. So if anyone knows me, I had to kick on my ambient modulated reverb because it is sick. It's killer. Yeah, great cleaning up. It sounds great. Kendall, come on, man. We don't need more gain in our lives. So Lance, yes, the Mustang is such a killer amp. I use it all the time now. It's great for recording, actually. It's got hundreds of amp types, hundreds of effects. My reverb I used there was a modulated large room, I think. Modulated large room. And I'll turn on my delay a little bit later, and it's an emulation of a Memory Man. So Stanley's here. Good to have you, Stanley. Good to see you tonight, Nick. Great to see you, brother. I am so happy that you provided these pedals for this live stream, and probably my board. I'm thinking that I'm going to use my Panda alongside the 797 for a little bit more, girt, a little bit more gain, as you will. And I recently was talking to Tony that I think I need a compressor. Does anybody else in the live stream use compressors? I have never used a compressor in my life. I was recently told I should try one. And I put a compressor in on this GT200, and it sounds phenomenal. With any drive I put, my clean tones sound so good. It's amazing. It's so sick. Yeah, so go to dirtyhaggardaudio.com. He has much more than just these 3 pedals. These are just the 3 that I asked for because I love the faceplate look of these. And I even want to ask Nick. So I was on your website earlier today, and I think I saw a pedal called a Degrade that was in like a bigger little plug to fuzz simp effects. It was in a little bit bigger of an enclosure like this, and it had, I think, a clean blend on it and stuff. I would like to know what that is because I was intrigued. You said it had a lot of gain. I would like to know what it is. So Zachary uses a Dynacomp, always on. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of getting a compressor, leaving it on all the time, never turning it off, and then stacking my Panda and stacking this 797 or the Tonebenzer or whatever I have on my board with it. I just feel like that's what I need. I don't know. I've for so long been using an always-on overdrive pedal and then using something more to give it gain, and I love that, but my cleans are very eh. They're very eh. Jason, you don't like a compressor, but you also aren't a huge fan of Strats. You prefer humbuckers, so I can understand why you don't, because I'm beginning to question your taste in guitar gear. He's going to come at me here in a bit, I think. I'm sorry, Jason. I had to say it. It was something I've been thinking for a long time. So, the 797 is killer. I just want to go through just kind of A, B, the 2, and see what we're looking at. I'm going to max the gain on both. Leave them both at kind of unity gain and see what happens. Also, I want to read these comments first. So, David Barber, yes, I've heard your, I forget what it's called, direct drive. The Barber direct drive, and it sounds phenomenal, so I could imagine the compressor is amazing too. A parallel compressor, and, I'll have to check that out, thank you. So the Degrade is a very odd fuzz with a lot of low end. It's heavily gated, opens up with low gain pickups, and has a clean blend for getting nice clean lows for bass or getting a fuzz drive sound. Interesting. Let's just say, Nick, that I'm going to need one of those. I'm going to need that pedal. So, some way, somehow, we're gonna make it happen. We're going to make it happen. So, Zachary, it helps you a lot with dynamics and staying steady between drives and cleans. Yes, I've struggled for so long getting the unity gain between the drives. And then, like when you stack a drive on top of a drive, you have to compensate for volume by turning it down because it gets crazy. Yeah, so I think I'm ready for a compressor. Bear says a compressor at the beginning of your chain is great, especially if you have a volume pedal at the end of your chain. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I don't use a volume pedal. I think I had this conversation with Zachary not long ago. I've always just used my volume on my guitar. I had one volume pedal. I used it for a while and I got rid of it. And Jason keeps saying that I'm bringing my knife to a gunfight. Says Hendrix, says Stevie Ray Vaughan, says John Mayer, says Eric Clapton. All these players that are known for playing Strats, Jason. And Nick is willing to hook me up eventually with the Degrade, and I am happy about it. I'm going to get that thing. We're going to try it out. So anyways, let's go through and talk about the differences with these. I'm just gonna play some different settings here and go through, you know, low gain, high gain between the two, dime them, and see what happens. See where the differences really fall. I hope you were able to hear the differences like I did. It definitely has that vibe going for it. Actually, when I first plugged in the 797, I thought it was some kind of Distortion Plus clone. So I was not far off because the DoD and the Distortion Plus are both very, very similar. Just being that different clipping diodes and different resistance on some of the parts of the circuit. I'm not going to go into detail on that. They're very, very similar circuits. The 797, like he told me, let me read the message he sent me. It says, the 797 is my version of the DoD 250. I feel like the original is a bit lackluster, and the frequency response change as you adjust the gain knob, as I was talking about, was a deal breaker for me. So I redesigned it by basically adding 2 times the number of original components and changing the values of most of the standard parts. It's still not the perfect overdrive, but I feel like I made it into something much different than what I started with. And I would totally agree with you. It's in that ballpark. It's a 250 clone, but it's not a... It gives you that flavor while being better than the flavor that you had, if you know what I mean at all. The 797 has more gain, I feel like. Less of that, like, it has more of that crispy high end, and I really love that. I really do think everyone knows I'm a low gain guitar player. I don't use much gain. I'll use fuzz every now and then, but that's not my main effect. I'm not a chugger. I'm not anything like that. But this does what I wanted to do in the low gain as like my higher gain overdrive. Because when I stacked it with, I should have plugged this in. Because when you stack it with a Panda, it's so good. It's so good. Which the Panda is pretty much, you know, I don't have the backplate on this. It's pretty much it's like a light gain to medium gain. Overdrive pedal can also be used kind of like a boost. But the 797 sounds so good on its own. I hope some of you were able to get that it's a different animal within the same species. It's awesome. Such a good drive pedal. You might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I think it's around $70 for one of those, which in a DoD 250 is around $100, I think. The reissue. I mean, you could probably get the You can probably get the reissue for like $70, and yeah, it's great. It's phenomenal. It does make it worth it to own both. It's $65. I want to see this pedal on PJ and the Beard's channel. I want to see this pedal on more people's boards because it's killer. It stacks really well. It is just a really good flavor to have on your board. It sounds phenomenal. But yes, it is worth it to have both because they both do very different things while in the same ballpark. It's awesome. Thank you, Nick, for making such a phenomenal 250-esque pedal. It's awesome. It's so good. Very good. And by the way, like I said before, I love the aesthetic. I love the circuit board on top look. I've always loved faceplate looks, and I've thought about doing that before I went with the graphics and the printing, but I didn't. And you're making me want to run some kind of limited edition, something of my pedals to, I don't know, just something different. It's phenomenal. It's awesome. I'm going to keep just talking it up. I'm just going to keep selling these to you because you need them. You need all of them, especially this one. I'm going to get to that one. That one's last. So, the Tonebenzer. I'll read what he sent to me about this pedal. It's a sweet pedal as well. When I got this pedal, a little bit of an odd thing to talk about, but I immediately thought of Pedals the Musical when I thought of this pedal because it's that kind of original tone bender, you know, kind of when everybody was coming up with that 2-transistor fuzz circuit, you know, when Vox and Dallas Arbiter, why am I forgetting these? When like Dallas Arbiter and, you know, the dude who made the tone bender and all that kind of did everything at the same time. There's really no like inventor of it. It just reminded me of that musical, and I thought I'd mention that, even though it does nothing for you to know that. But the Tonebenzer is, it's based on the Tonebender, however, it's the 2-transistor version, which is basically a fuzz face, very similar, which is very similar to what my Angry Alpaca is. 2-transistor fuzz, and they're both different animals. So I built up the original version of the Bender/fuzz face and started adjusting the values, swapping out the transistors until I had what I was looking for. And actually, all of my pedals, this is the one I play the most. So Nick, he recommends this pedal. I recommend this pedal, which means you need this pedal. You need it. You can't live without it. You're going to have to pick one up because I believe this is either $65 or $69, whatever I saw on your website earlier, similar to the 797. So where did I leave off? So it's got that vintage sound, which is for sure you're going to hear that coming up, but it has way more low frequencies than the original. I would agree to that because it has more low frequencies than my Angry Alpaca. It has like this round low end to it, and it's awesome. So less noise and a lot more output. This thing's loud. It's loud. Prepare to turn it down. All of his pedals are loud. I will just say that. All of his pedals have high headroom. This was unity gain. You see, that's all the way down, and that's about unity gain so that I could match it with the 250 at almost halfway. So just to put that into perspective, all of his pedals are loud. So he also put a combination of germanium and silicon transistors to add a bit more extra character and a bit more smoothness to the resulting tone. Apparently, not just germanium transistors, but vintage Russian germanium transistors, which really smooth out the high frequencies. And it's $85 for that one, and I understand why. I'm sorry for the false advertising at $69, because that's not right. Just erase everything I said about that. It's $85, and it's worth it, because you go and look at handmade pedals with vintage Russian transistors, and you're gonna spend a lot. Let me just tell you. I built a pedal for a guy with, I think it was NTE 103s, and those things were like 20 bucks a piece. And it's crazy. So these pedals are worth it. This pedal is worth it, and it sounds phenomenal. But it's not your just typical 2-transistor fuzz face circuit. It has a completely different flavor to it. And I will show you with these two, which is why I'm comparing, to show you how different two 2-transistor fuzzes can be. The roll-off is different. The gain structure is different. Obviously with mine, I'm not going to get on the inside and roll down the fuzz or the attack like he has up here. I made that internal and then put a variable feedback resistor here to adjust those things. But let's go ahead and go through the Tonebenzer. I don't know what Nick's settings look like, but it sounds great everywhere. If you know anything about a fuzz face, you pretty much have to roll the fuzz all the way up. And that's where it sounds good. This one has such a good sweep on the attack, and it sounds good everywhere. So let's show that on my Strat. Nothing else. There's nothing else to try it on. A fuzz face and a Strat. So far, what do y'all think of that? Because I think that sounds phenomenal. Leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite fuzz face circuit, inspired circuit is. Maybe even your favorite fuzz. Just let me know. He totally reconfigured the gain structure, and I totally get that from this pedal. I get it. Nick, you redesigned all these great vintage circuits, and they sound so good. They sound so good. Nothing like a fuzz face and a Strat. Let me just tell you. So let's play with that attack knob a bit, and let's see what we can do. Let's see how fuzzy, how much gain this thing really has. Back to unmuted. This thing has some tone. This thing sounds phenomenal. The way I judge a good drive pedal, a good fuzz pedal, and I mentioned this when I created the Fuzzy Fox, does it sound good when you roll the gain all the way back? That is like my thing with a fuzz, because I really love that low gain growl that a fuzz can have. That kind of, as Nick was saying earlier with the degrade and the clean blend, kind of that fuzz overdrive kind of thing. And that's what I went for with the Fuzzy Fox. If you want a fuzz pedal in my line, go with the Angry Alpaca, because the Fuzzy Fox is a fuzz pedal, but it's going to kind of give you that ripped speaker kind of sound. This is your 60s, 70s fuzz that we all know and love, that, you know, we might not use every day, but they sound phenomenal. So Zachary Taylor, does a rat count as a fuzz? I think that, my personal opinion, it's kind of right in between. It's kind of a fuzz pedal if you just dime it, and it's kind of not at the same time. I'm probably going to get attacked for that, but personally, I don't think a rat is a fuzz pedal. Tony thinks it's a fuzz pedal. I think it can achieve fuzzy tones, but some overdrives can do that too. So, I don't know. It's kind of like saying, is a big muff a distortion, or is it a fuzz? The world may never know. Jason likes the tones. There's nothing to dislike about those tones. I love fuzz pedals. They sound good. I love this fuzz pedal. So, for the demonstration of and comparison between these two, I'm going to go ahead and almost dime the attack on the Tonebenzer, and the gain all the way down on my Alpaca is your max gain, and then rolling it up kind of gives you a darker, I kind of feel embarrassed now because I have a similar thing to what Nick disliked about the 250. As you roll up my gain on my Alpaca, it gets a little bit darker. I'll go ahead and show that. Even though, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's show it. The world needs to know about that before I go through. So as you can see, yes, it does get darker as you roll it up. Thank you, Nick. It's similar to a Fuzz Factory woolly. It's kind of a woolly mammoth made for guitar, if I will, because it's got the bias control on the inside. It's got a variable feedback resistor. It's got the typical fuzz control. It's got a level control. But mine does not have as much headroom as the Tonebenzer does. It has a good bit. I mean, it's a fuzz. Fuzz faces, they're loud. But not as much. So let's leave my level here. Let's roll my gain all the way down, which is up theoretically. Gain pretty high level about there. And let's do it. One thing I'm already noticing right away is that his has a lot, like he said, a lot more low end to the tone than my Angry Alpaca does, and thus making it sound like a woollier beefier fuzz. So let's go through it a little bit more. So now let's test the volume roll-off, because trying out his Tonebenzer, there was a difference between my Angry Alpaca and the Tonebenzer, for sure. My Angry Alpaca still has like this little bit of spitty thing in it when you roll it off, and I mean you get to like 4 and it's clean. But like, you know, you keep it at like 6 and 7, that fuzz is still there. And the Tonebenzer cleans up pretty soon as you roll it back. I mean, you have to roll it back probably about to a 5 or a 6. So it's not super duper different, but it's definitely different enough to notice. So that's at 6, and it still has a little bit of fuzz. So there is your kind of like 5. Sounds good. Sounds phenomenal. So let's try that on the Angry Alpaca so that we can show the. So for the Alpaca, 4 is the number. 4 is the number for the roll-off. On the Tonebenzer, 5 is the number. But my Alpaca, like I said, as you roll back to like 6 or 7, it gets a little spitty. It doesn't, you know, clean up right away like some do. But you can definitely tell just, you know, changing the gain structure, changing the transistors makes all the difference in a 2-transistor fuzz. It makes a ton of difference. Yeah. I didn't see anybody else comment. What is your favorite fuzz pedal? We got a rat so far on the list. Mine? I don't use fuzz very much. I feel bad saying it's one of my own, but the Fuzzy Fox was kind of designed to be my flavor of fuzz, if you will. I don't know what Tony likes as far as fuzz goes. Jason, man, Bear, I'd love to hear some favorite fuzzes, because we're about to end off on another fuzz, a 3904, and I decided to throw a special pedal in the mix to change the 3904 just a bit. So Little River Customs, my friend Nathan Hanna over at Little River Customs. I don't know if anybody knows him. You should if you don't. But I have one pedal from him right now, and that is this awesome Jeep, what is it, a LPB1, a linear power boost. It's so awesome, and check this out. Hold on, you ready? Boom. The headlights come on. It's awesome. It is sick. It's beautiful. Okay, we got some favorite fuzzes coming in. Bear really likes a Big Muff Pie, a triangle. I can't say that I've ever tried a triangle Big Muff, to be perfectly honest. I've never had a Big Muff. I've tried, I want to get a big box Big Muff Pie, but I need to. I've never tried a Russian, never tried a triangle. I've only ever tried the op amp and the transistor based ones. So some of these are kind of rough to pronounce here. We got a BMF Sissy Fuzz. I've never tried one of those. That would be a cool pedal to try out. We got an Arcane analog NKT. I'm guessing we have NKT transistors in that. Red is also nice, Mike says. It's awesome. So Jason likes my Fuzzy Fox. I appreciate that. He also likes the Stinger Fuzz from Tim at TL Pedals. I would love to have TL Pedals here, because I've looked through his website many times, his Facebook page, and he makes some crazy cool stuff. I love it. Mike also loves fuzz faces. He hasn't ventured much into tone benders, and neither have I. I've tried a few at guitar stores, but I have not tried a ton of them, to be perfectly honest. That's not something that I've ventured much into. So Bear had a 69 that you bought new, and you sold that to get a Muffaletta. Muffaletta gets a lot of love, the JHS Muffaletta. Maybe that's the one I need to get, so I can have everything all in one box. I've also thought about getting the Bonsai from them to have every Tube Screamer in one box. Mike thoroughly enjoyed a Fuzzy Fox when he had it. You know what? Mike, if you message me, I'll give you a deal on a Fuzzy Fox. Not to slide some stuff under the table here, but I'll give you a deal if you message me for a Fuzzy Fox. If anybody messages me for a Fuzzy Fox, I'll hook you up with a deal. I'll hook you up with a deal. So Nick loves the Fender Blender. I have never tried one of those. I don't think I've ever seen one in a store anywhere ever. So Jason says he also likes stuff with octave. I will say I thoroughly enjoyed your video of the Billy Gibbons signature. I don't even remember what it's called, but that pedal sounded killer. And with the, what was it, a 10-band, 7-band EQ, that can literally do whatever you would want it to do ever. Tony likes my Fuzzy Fox. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Tony. He got one from me when I first released the Mark II Fuzzy Fox. He was in that first run of them, and I'm glad that he still loves it to this day. Jordan Bosstone was Bear's first fuzz. It fell apart. Yeah, Bear, I don't know if you just saw. I mean, I know they sell reissues. You probably want a vintage one. But they sell... they sold, JHS did a documentary on them, and they sold like special edition red ones. I really wanted to get one of those, but I missed out. I didn't hit it at the right time. So Mike went through some amazing fuzzes in his early days. Yes, he got rid of them because he didn't understand them, and I think that's the big thing, because the world of fuzz is vast, and there's a lot. Let's see. I'm just gonna grab something here. So let's go to the talking cam. So a crazy fuzz that I don't see a lot of people playing with is the Mxr Blue Box. I have this one from my friend Mark Anderson that I probably need to return because he sent it to me to try out, and I don't play it a lot, and it's just kind of sat, and he hasn't said anything about it. I haven't really looked at it, but anyways, yeah, it's a very odd fuzz. It's a cool one. I mean, it's unique for sure. I've thought about cloning one and seeing what I can do with like a 2-in-1 thing. But yeah, also I picked up one of the earlier monocles from Justice Gash from Fuzz Simp Effects. Yeah, I picked up one of these. This is actually a 2-transistor fuzz too. It's completely germanium, PNP germanium, so it's a positive ground. I was gonna compare it to the Tonebenzer tonight, but it's so different. It's so different. Like, it's spitty different. And I was like, maybe not. My Alpaca's more of a representation of what it is. So Nick, you make an arachnid. So is the arachnid a muff? I saw the arachnid and I thought about asking if I could review that one, but is that one a muff? I'm gonna need a degrade and an arachnid, I guess. Yes, the JHS sold out immediately. I watched the video immediately when it was uploaded, but apparently I didn't catch on to the fact or look in the description that they were coming out with a new one until later, because I wasn't able to finish the video until later, and I was very mad when it was sold out. So I hope this is okay. I hope y'all are okay with me just talking to you. I'm gonna put this down for a second. Read through some of these comments. I love talking to you guys. That was my favorite part about doing the live stream the last time. So Mike used to have a full tone 69, a Frantone peach fuzz, I don't know what that is, a love pedal woody. I believe a woody love pedal is kind of cool. They made some pedals that were super simple circuits, but they're so desired now. They're like, people want them so bad. Yes, I have gone through a period. I did go through a period as well, Mike, that I didn't really enjoy fuzz. And that was kind of right before I designed the Fuzzy Fox. And then I played through that one. I got that one to sound like I wanted it to. And then it just kind of opened my eyes to what fuzz really is. And I was like, you know what? A thing I might not use every day, like a Blue Box, is cool, even though it might just sit on my shelf most of the time. A 3904, even though it might not go on my board, is so cool to have because it has such a unique sound. And it's crazy because these simple circuits, like my Hungry Panda, which is very reminiscent of a Electra distortion, just highly modified. Simple circuits like that can sound so good, and most times that's what does sound good. That's why a 250, why a Distortion Plus, why a 797, a Tonebenzer, a 3904, that's why they sound good. Like a power boost, it sounds good. So let's see here. Yeah, the Blue Box is a lot of fun, Jason. So let's see. We have one. We recorded a video on the early days of the channel. So one of my personal favorite episodes we have done, even though it's probably terrible. The Blue Box, it's crazy. It's just weird. It's so weird. Yeah, Bear, I wish I would have caught one of those Boss Tones, and I guarantee people will not sell them. Bear, I'm really glad that you like the Hungry Panda. It's one of those pedals that's it's so simple. It's such a simple circuit, but it works so good, you know, and it's so it needs to be put specific places in your chain, along with most fuzzes, most simple circuits, but it's super duper fun. But Bear also, yes, I use a pitchfork as well. That is my go-to for octave stuff. I like the latch function on it. That is probably my favorite part. Okay, so the Arachnid, I was wrong. It is not a muff. It's a Fender blender, which I have never looked into those schematics. I've never looked into that circuit with different mods. Man, Nick, I'm really having a hard time here because I want more of your pedals. I want more. I can't help it. They're just your pedals. I love the look of these. Like it's really my favorite. Okay. I'm done talking. Jason said it's time to turn on the 3904. So I talked to him about the 3904 because I tried all of these pedals out, and the 3904 it's weird because it's kind of reminiscent, in my opinion, of that 2-transistor fuzz, 2-transistor, you know, whatever you want to call it. It has that quality to it, but it has this like spitty, gated fuzz that my Fuzzy Fox kind of has when you roll the volume back. So it encapsulates so many different features of pedals I love, but just with one knob. Obviously, you can see I like one knob. I like single knob pedals. I don't have it with me, but my first Fuzzy Fox I ever made was a single knob pedal, and I love single knob pedals. Let's do it. First, I'm going to show you this Little River Customs LPB1 linear power boost clone, and we will turn on the 3904. So that one is just such a good clean boost. Nathan is such a good builder. He doesn't do much like production run stuff, but he does all these like custom one-off car builds. He'll build you whatever you want. So head over to Little River Customs. I'll tag him in the comments later. He's awesome. I actually have a really cool pedal. I think I'm going to do a LRC video when I get it in. It's an 8 mode each. So each of these effects have 8 modes on them, and it's a reverb and delay. It's gonna be sick. I am so excited for it. I can't wait, because it's probably gonna be a long live stream going through all of those sounds. So anyways, let's click on this 3904 like Jason has been awaiting, because apparently he's gonna get mad if I don't get on with this. It's broken. What the? So the 3904 is, so literally in like the first, you roll up to 12 o'clock on the pedal, and you already have like so many different possible fuzz tones, even though the volume might not be super loud. And yeah, it's insane. It's so good. I don't think I would use it every day. I would use it more than a Blue Box, but I play worship music, so I can't use stuff like that all the time in live settings. At home, all the time. I'm just, with all these pedals and trying to get those crazy octave up and those crazy stacks and turning it up loud, my wife is probably sick of it by now. But yes, I should have grabbed my pitchfork to do this, because all of these pedals, well, all of my, the Tonebenzer and the Angry Alpaca would have sounded killer with an octave up as well. So yeah, the 3904 is ridiculous. Let's just crank it and see what happens. It's loud, people. It's loud. It's such a loud. Yes. It's a sleeping baby. That's why I decided to go with in-ears tonight, because I was a little loud the last live stream. So I was trying to find alternatives so that our baby could, not have the house shaking while she's trying to sleep. I honestly wish I knew the Mario theme song, because this would sound killer. Hold on. Ah. So this does that, that super gated, super fun, spitty fuzz. So if that's your thing, this will do it. And I'll show you the little volume roll off, because it's also fun. So Roy, it's good to have you tonight. I think I saw your fuzz comment earlier, but yes, the Benzer is loud. All of his pedals are loud. Even the 3904, it's crazy loud. You love it around 9 o'clock on both knobs. Yes, actually, that is one of my favorite tones with the Benzer, is kind of that range to get those not too crazy fuzz where it's like, slurring the notes when I play the neck pickup, but just enough that there's definition and articulation, and then not blisteringly loud for the level control. Jason's liking the 3904. Now, Jason, you need to hook up with Nick and get some pedals on PJ and the Beard. You need to do it. Oh, man. The 3904 screams. It screams. And it's $65 for one knob. For one knob. It's awesome. And I'll just tell you that he's got a killer price point too. I sell my pedals for about $100. All of them are $100, and $65 for a brand new handmade pedal from Portland, Oregon is awesome. Nick, such a good job on these pedals, man. So, leave in the comments what your favorite one is or was that I went through, and I think I'm gonna do some stacking of these guys. I think we need to see what some overdrive will do to change your tone. Let's see.
And I just want to point out that you can already tell the difference between these two just when you stack pedals. When you stack the Tonebenzer with the 797, it gives you a very bright fuzz-driven kind of sound. When you stack it with the DoD 250, it gives you that fuzz-driven sound, but it's super-duper dark. It's very dark. It sounds phenomenal. So let's stack some drives. See. So don't turn all the pedals on at the same time. So that was a monstrosity. That was terribly awesome. That was awesome. All the gain. You know what? That, if your high gain tone does not sound like that, I don't know what you're doing. Oh man, guys, it's been fun. I better get off here. We're looking at, what are we, an hour and 10 minutes. I'm so glad y'all were here tonight. I'm so glad that you decided to come join me. Some returning people. I'm glad that Mike was able to be here. Bear, Jason, and probably others. Tony, I'm so glad y'all are able to be here tonight. And even a few new faces here tonight with Nick and Roy. So good to have you. Zach, thank you for being here. Some comments, yeah, all the fuzz. You need all the gain. That is high gain tone right there. That does it. Whatever happened, that was it. That was it. Yes, Bear, I do think at Guitar Center. I've been told at Guitar Center before. I usually don't. If I'm just plugging up to an amp, I've been told to turn it down before. So I've been there. I've been there. So Jason wants to try out the 3904. Yes, talk to Nick. Hit Nick up. Check out pjandthebeard.com. Nick, get a pedal. Get a 3904 to those guys. They love fuzz. They love pedals. You know what? Get all of them. Push them all. Get them all. So, hopefully, stay tuned for an Arachnid video possibly, and a Degrade video, and I would love to have more companies, small companies, featured on this channel. Little River Customs video is going to come up here pretty soon when I get that custom build, so stay tuned for that, and that is going to be the conclusion of this video. I just want to say thank you to Nick. Thank you for trusting me with demoing your pedals. I hope I was able to do some kind of justice in showing the tones that they're capable of. And I hope as a buyer you were able to see the differences between some comparable pedals in the market. Other than the 3904, forget about that one. There's nothing compares to that one. But I hope that you got an idea of what these pedals are, the beautiful handmade pedals that they are. You should get one. 65, 85, if I remember correctly, and 65. And he's also got some cool other pedals, some printed ones, some delay and fuzz stuff, and the torsion, I think, is one. Yeah, and he even has a harmonic percolator clone. So definitely go check out Dirty Haggard Audio's website, because they have some killer stuff, and you won't be disappointed by the craftsmanship. You won't be disappointed by the customer service. You need to have some of these pedals for the price. You can't go wrong. So everybody, thank you for being here yet again. I love doing this. I would love to make this a regular thing. So if so happens a small pedal builder sees this video, feel free to contact me, and I'd love to have your pedals in one of my live streams sometime. Yet again, I was running through the Fender Mustang GT200 with my little effects deal, running through all these guys and my pink strap. And that is where I'm going to say bye, and I'm going to say thank you for joining me. And as PJ and the Beard quote, no matter what you hear, you'll never have too much gear, because I live by that motto, and my wife hates it. But I can't help it. It's the way I am. So guys, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.